Hello and a very warm welcome to Going Viral Designing for Social. I'm Steph and I'm a brand designer on Canva's creative team and the specialist for our social channels. And here today, I'm with the amazing Jess from Canva Space and our design education team, who'll be manning the chat as we go along. Here at Canva, my work looks a little bit like this. Just head over to any of our socials. The username is @Canva and you'll be able to recreate anything on that page. Previous to this, I used to work in advertising for clients like Netflix and Samsung. So I spend a lot of time on Netflix at work. But enough about me. I'd love to know about you today. Why are you here? Do you work in social? And what's your favorite snack? Yep, cake, popcorn, coffee, chocolate, potato chips. Yep, we love cake here, nachos, chocolate cake, ice cream. Oh, mochi, I love mochi. Eclairs. Oh, you guys are really gourmets, aren't you? I wish I could have an eclair as a snack. Okay, it looks like there's an amazing selection. I personally like brownies and chocolate, but that's maybe dessert territory. I don't know. Oh, candy peanuts. That sounds really nice. Well, the reason we're talking about snacks today is that's kind of the theme for today's webinar. And I'm going to go through viral content trends on social media and break them down into two categories. The first category is what I call short form or snackable content. So this content is like a quick hit to boost your energy, lift your mood, or hack your life. So this is where you're thinking of like TikTok, Instagram stories, or Reels, memes on Twitter. And then the second category is what I like to call main course content. And this is the kind of content you want to savor. You want to eat a little bit slower, indulge in the entire experience like you're eating the best ramen of your life in Tokyo. So think YouTube and Instagram TV, or even text-heavy posts on your Instagram feed. The agenda for today is we're going to look at the snacks first, then have the main course content, and we'll have a bit of time for questions, but feel free to send them through the Zoom chat as they arise, and we'll make sure we get to as many as they can. I'll show you how you can find the best templates and design for these content trends in Canva, because design is the biggest lever you can pull to stand out amongst the crowd. Everyone is filming a low-res TikTok in their bedroom. Everyone is jumping on that viral meme trend, but not everyone is using design to make it better than the rest. What makes content snackable? There is no consensus. Like most things when it comes to social media, it's industry specific, it's platform specific. Something that's obviously short on YouTube would be long form on TikTok. For the sake of this webinar, I'm going to go with video that's intentionally less than 1 to 2 minutes long, content that's on the platform for less than 24 hours, and single image posts. The argument for the rise in short form content is that it caters towards declining attention spans and the rise of mobiles as our screen device of choice due to advances in their technology. In 2018, 71% of media time came from smartphones, with an average of 87 hours per month spent on mobile device web browsing. I assume it's only gotten worse. So short form content is arguably more viral too. People don't need to spend as long to understand it, so it's got a really low barrier to entry, and it's really quick to share on these platforms. Virality is what gets creators and brands known and eventually products sold. A social audience is quite savvy these days. Your content needs to offer value, even if it only lasts for 3 seconds. But how do you offer value so quickly? I'm going to start looking at some snackable content trends, and we're going to start with the ultimate in snackable content, short video. TikTok and Reels, which are basically the same thing because everyone posts their TikTok onto Instagram Reels. One consistent format on TikTok that performs quite well is this point of view trend. It's pretty self-explanatory. Someone's kind of acting from their own or another's point of view in various scenarios. As you can see on the video on the right and the left, people often pair this type of content with like green screens to establish scene or character changes. And it's a really accessible way for creators to create this kind of content. Another variation of this is like a trend where people cycle through different outfits or themes in the same TikTok. So this example is what they call the Decades Challenge. And it's a really fun one for creators from different categories, especially like fashion and makeup, as you can see. With trends, once they take off, there's literally millions of other people doing it. And I think this creator really stood out with her title graphics. This is a native effect in TikTok, but it's a great nod to 90s or Y2K. So it's a great example of jumping onto a hashtag challenge and using an aesthetic trend and graphics. This next video, once it plays, hopefully the voiceover works.
Most dangerous animal on this planet. A violent creature filled with hateful thoughts and a lust for blood. Teeth like razors to suck the meat from your bone.
This video in particular, it uses like a David Attenborough narration, and it's shown from the point of view of this naturalist observing this terrifying cat in the wild. Offering value for short videos is creating a space for people to escape the mundane. They want stuff like this that makes them laugh, stuff that makes them go wow, and stuff that makes them take their mind away from the daily grind. And point of view really leads into this escapism trend. If you saw our previous design trends webinar, this escapism thing has gotten really stronger with the pandemic. People really want to get away from where they are in whatever way they can. And TikTok spoke to our brand team a few months ago, and they said the biggest opportunity for growth is to participate in culture. I think this is a great example of someone taking a little niche in pop culture and exploiting it really well. And so my tips and tricks for using Canva in your TikToks would be that we have some amazing animated TikTok templates. In this sheet here, I've just listed the end frames and the backgrounds because I think it's a really great starting place. And we also create templates specifically for visual trends. If you add the word aesthetic or retro to your search terms, it will come up with more contemporary templates. I guess retro is kind of contemporary these days that match today's trends. I also think you should also make the most of our animated sticker library to overlay onto your content. You could add props like hats or whatever when you're shooting. And you can also filter all elements by animated and static. And if you need a green screen, just make the most of Canva's photo library. I'm actually going to do a little TikTok intro video demonstration of how you can animate text in Canva. And you can also use a video like this as your intro or your background. So let's get to it. I'm just going to jump into my Canva. I think I searched for TikTok background in this one. And there it is. So this is what they call beach photo TikTok background. So if we just play it, let's just see. So you can see here that the text isn't animating on or off, but I really would like it to. I think it really adds to the whole effect. If I click animate, if you're kind of new to Canva, we've recently introduced text animations, and they are some of my favorite effects ever. You can preview each effect by selecting the text and clicking the effect you'd like to use. So what do you guys think? Burst, that's kind of fun. Shift, that's kind of nice and subtle. Or skate, ooh. Well, I think I'll go with typewriter because I think that goes with this whole retro aesthetic we're going for. So I'm just going to apply that to all the text in this. You can just see here, this little play button, that's actually not a part of the text. So I can also transition that in individually through an element animation. And I think I'll just do it as a rise so it doesn't detract from the other animations. Let's turn this into like a TikTok reel of my summer of 2019, because that was the last time we had a pandemic-free summer. But I might make the animation effect on this one, and you can have multiple different animation effects in the same document. Let's shift. What's roll look like? Oh, that's very cool, isn't it? We'll go with that. Is there a way we can edit the timing or text or animation elements when they appear? I think Canva actually does them all automatically. If you do want to separate animation effects out, you could always break the video into different pages. Let me duplicate this page. But I would have to probably split the video in half. So if I split this at 2.2 seconds, and then if I split this to so this is the 2-second mark, and then that continues on. And then I would have to remove the animation from this because it's already on. None. So let's see how that plays. Yeah, it might be a little bit tricky. I think there's a way if you group elements, they animate in that same batch. So let's try that. There we go. So if I play that, they animate at the same time. So by grouping elements, they'll animate at the same time. So hopefully that explains. I'll make sure I get through all your questions in the next demo. So my next snackable content trend would be GIFs, or is it GIFs? So that's a debate for another time. And I think GIFs are really having a moment. And there was something that originally started in the 80s and 90s, but people now are literally going back to being GIF creators, but with 2021 technology. Visually, there's a great range in the type of GIFs people are creating. And so these examples here are by Matt Voice. He's one of my favorite GIF or GIF creators that really gets social and how stickers are used. And you probably recognize this style of the rainbow trails. He's worked directly with Jiffy, which is the platform that powers all the Instagram stickers you use. And I actually think it's a really underrated place to find amazing creators. And I think the discoverability still needs a little bit of work, but if they nail that, watch out. There's not a lot of brands on there. From experience, stickers that are direct product placements don't tend to do well. But if you treat them as more of like a brand building piece, I think this is where you can get traction with a wider audience. Stickers need to be part of like a usable toolkit. And I think people underestimate the power of stickers too. They're in every messenger platform like WeChat, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Stories, Line, Kakao Talk, WhatsApp. And people underestimate how powerful it is to have your brand or whatever you're creating for present in a dark social space. It keeps you back of mind every time someone sends a message. So I'm going to go into GIF's kind of older sister is like memes. I hope I don't need to explain what a meme is, but the Wikipedia definition is that it's an idea, behavior, or style that spreads by means of imitation from person to person within a culture and often carries symbolic meaning. And it's a unit for carrying cultural ideas. One of the simplest form in which memes manifest is kind of your typical static image like this. Memes are often known for looking really lo-fi or badly photoshopped. There's a lot of debate as to how designed a meme should be, but I'm here to argue that memes can look good. So case in point, the creator of this is Elliot is a cool guy. That's his username. And he's a very cool guy. He's an Australian designer who understands content so well. And memes don't need to be lo-fi to resonate. You just need to know what your audience is interested in. And here he's really got this lovely self-deprecating sense of humor. And I'm sure if anyone who's even touched Photoshop or tried to design in Canva, you get a sense of what he's saying. And another kind of recent trend on Instagram, this one is called using Instagram infographic aesthetics to say mundane things. And that's a mouthful, but I think it's kind of a riff off that. People are really investing into design on their Instagrams, and that investment itself is now a meme. And this person has just used Canva templates and it went pretty viral. That's 72.6K likes. That's pretty good. I know it's meant as a joke, but here at Canva, when we invested in designing our content, our engagement went up by 300%. So don't underestimate the power of good design in a meme. My tips and tricks for kind of creating memes and GIFs would be that we actually have meme templates, if you don't know. I don't know how aware people are, but they're great. You just search memes and there's some really fun ones. There's like Galaxy Brain, heart memes, all the cats. And don't worry, this presentation will be recorded, so you'll have access to all these cheat sheets and guides. If you want a more design meme to do that kind of subversive route, again, I recommend searching aesthetic or even curved text, because this is a fairly new feature of ours. So it has some really nice modern templates if you want to go that subversive route. And also we have a Jiffy plugin on Canva. So that's how I managed to insert this lovely dancing bear. And if you have a Canva Pro account, background remover, if you want to go your traditional meme style, think Bernie Sanders and his mittens at the recent US election. And did you know that you can actually export videos as GIFs on Canva? And that is our demo. I'm going to show you how you can make this SpongeBob GIF in Canva. This is the original clip.
Squidward, we don't need television. Not as long as we have our imagination.
So it's that segment that I just want. And if you've signed up for Canva's open beta, you'll have access to our new video timeline. I'll go into depth on this a little bit later, but all you need to do is just drag and drop to the part of the clip you want. It makes magic work out of any videos. And I say this as a professional video and motion designer. So that's the part I want. That will make a great GIF, won't it? Might just trim it a little bit closer to where he's creating the rainbow. Don't need sound for a GIF because they're usually silent. And so if you want to create outline text, like I have it in that example, I'm just going to add this. So what did he say? Imagination. I'm going to hit this button, which transforms it all into uppercase, which makes it so much easier than retyping every time. So I'm going to keep the text this color black, even though it's not providing contrast, because when I hit this effect splice, whatever color you've made your text becomes the outline color. So if you want to change the fill color, you actually need to go into the splice effect. I'm going to click white. And if you want to make it outline text in Canva, just reduce what they call offset, which is the distance of the, I guess, the shape's shadow from the actual outline. Reduce it to 0 and you have outline text. So that's one of my favorite tricks on Canva. I'm just also going to reduce the spacing a little bit so the letters are a bit closer together. And then all you need to do to download as a GIF, download GIF. And then we've got a magical little GIF we can use wherever we please. It is that simple. So I think I will just bounce back to my presentation because I guess you get the gist of it. I can't wait to see what GIFs you create. Please share them with the Canva, send it to our Instagram. That actually brings us to the next half of this webinar. Short form content, as you can imagine, it was quite short and easy to cover. So we've covered all the snacks and we're going to move to the main course. Main course content or long form content is longer in duration. And it's also quite likely it takes a little bit longer to prepare. Think about a 3-course meal. There's usually higher production, higher quality, and a longer output. So long form stuff is content that's likely to be over a minute in length or to an hour, living on the platform longer than 24 hours or spanning multiple images. While short form content is more known for virality, it does not mean that longer form content doesn't have the same impact. Think about Netflix. That's very, very long form content, but it's very viral and very bingeable. Long form content tends to be what people actively seek out to unwind or be entertained or learn. This is more a place to tell a really developed story or showcase amazing visuals. Long form content is all about immersion. You give your audience a context, a story, and a message to take away after, and often serves as a reference point or something that you want someone to come back to later on. So let's look at some long form content trends. We looked at single image graphics like in the form of memes, but here's like the main course version. One great example of someone who creates great multi-page content is So You Want to Talk About. So that's the username on Instagram. And they serve to educate their audience on everything from gender binary to mental health with a focus on American societal issues. Their carousels are really well researched. And by using this format, when you go to their Instagram profile, it's like an entire library of content. And someone can use it as a point of reference when they're trying to discuss big issues. Design is so important in this because design needs to be sensitive to the content you create. So you've got to be quite considerate of how you execute these. If you want a multi-page carousel, just simply look up the multi-page carousel templates or any social media template of your choosing. I'm going to show you it's actually really easy to adapt any single page social template into multiple pages. I'm just going to change to this timeline view because that's my favorite view. It's easier, you can see the different pages. So I'm actually going to delete this all and I'll show you how I create it from scratch. So this is the template I used and I like this little sunny guy, but say I wanted to have 4 pages of this on Instagram. When I create a new page, it at least chooses that same background color. And now I'm going to look for some other meditation templates because that's kind of the theme of this. And I want to see if there's anything from another template that I can use in this one. So you can see our design team kind of creates them in sets. So there's often like a few templates that use really similar elements. So I'm going to click this one and I'll show you how I match the style of this template to the previous template I used. I'm going to copy and paste the background color. And so I'm going to just reduce some of these elements, delete a few of these. I think this guy looks a bit like it's got the same kind of face as that sun. You use the same font style and something, click the text box and click this little paintbrush. It's like a rolling paintbrush if you've ever done like DIY around the house. And you click it and it transforms it into the same style as whatever your reference point is. So you can see I've transformed that into the same style as this. That makes it super easy. Let's say I was going to do like a tip series on meditation stuff. Easy tip goes here. So as a designer, I just make the place for the text to go. And let's say I want this little dude to be the same kind of orange. I'm just going to copy and paste him. So I have a reference point to what kind of color I'm using. Okay, this one is actually not an editable element. That's all right. we'll just run with it. Let me see if there's any other templates I could. Oh, that's the one I was looking for. Mindfulness at school. So this one's got nice little characters everywhere. And I'm just going to copy and paste the background color again. Do the same thing where I copy and paste. I'll just use the roller paintbrush. So I click this text box, then the roller paintbrush, and then the text I want to transform, and it changes it to the same style. And then I just delete my reference. I want this little face. That face is really cute in the corner. I'm just going to change that text to say tip number 2. Amazing. Tip number 2 goes here. And then I'm going to just grab the clouds again, but I might rearrange them so there's a bit of variety in the layout. Put that cloud there, send that backwards. And maybe I want a bit of sun. So I'm just going to grab this sun, put him in the, might put him behind the cloud. And then there goes that. So that's how I would go about adapting templates to like be multiple pages. I think the most important thing in a carousel is consistency in design. So even if there's only like one frame in the template, you can replicate that same style across multiple frames. Copy and paste the sun is just copy and paste. So your normal Control-C, Control-V on any computer you're using. And so my next content trend for long form content, if you can't tell from all the food metaphors, I love food and this trend surely will. So one of the biggest trends in long form content is ASMR or silent vlogging. I am no scientist, but if you haven't heard of ASMR, it's kind of this term for the sensation that people get when they watch or listen to stimulating videos. And many people describe the feeling as tingles that run through the back of someone's head or spine. And others say that the feeling's really relaxing and can cause them to fall asleep. It's a little bit difficult to explain. So if you watch a few videos, you get a sense for it. There's a lot of like ambient noise in the background as someone does something. This trend is particularly taken off in the Asia region, particularly in Japan and South Korea, where people's public and private lives have a bigger divide. Creators often feature minimally, and you may never see their face or hear their voice. And so creators in this category do vlogs or video blogging, share recipes, or even video essays. And it's often paired with beautiful video shots and like close-ups. And this is one of my favorite creators. So they're called Hegrinda, who often shares recipes like in one video under a specific theme with gorgeous music and cinematography. And they're one of the first creators who really drove the uptake in the style of video. So I'll just play a little bit so you can get a kind of sense for what this like silent vlogging ASMR thing is. This is, I think, a video on egg recipes. So if you can just kind of hear sound of the scissors, breaking eggs, and you don't see their face at all. It's actually just very soothing to have on in the background while you're working. Yeah, I can relate so hard. Yeah, it's so easy to binge watch this stuff. It's just nice ambient noise, especially when you're working or studying from home. So I'll let that one be. You're welcome to look them up on YouTube. The recipes are great too. But if you're more familiar with BuzzFeed, their producer Alvin also shares his own recipes using a style. And you can see in this one, all commentary is kept to the subtitles. So I'll just play a little bit of this one of his 150-hour chocolate cake. You see he's got some beautiful text overlays and all his commentary is kind of in the subtitle area. Very chill. I know I could just spend the rest of the webinar watching this, couldn't we? It's a very nice way to create recipe content. Okay, so we don't get carried away, unfortunately, we'll have to continue on. An example of a brand hopping onto this trend would be Audible's collaboration with Mark Fennell. Audible are the company who create a lot of audiobooks. So he launched an audiobook about the hottest chilies in the world. And what did they make him do? They made him explain the book in ASMR while trying the chilies. So I just got to play a little bit of this. It's quite a spicy watch. Might just skip to where he's actually trying to chili say.
Jalapeno, the Guinness World Record for the world's hottest chili. Wow.
Sorry, Mark. But yeah, great content. And so designing for this trend, I guess, we have a lot of video templates with graphic overlays. So all you need to do is actually put your video in Canva underneath all our graphics. You can also find plenty of thumbnail templates to make sure that your video is super eye-catching and that people want to watch your content. For this demo, we're not going to create ASMR content. Unfortunately, that is not my realm of expertise, but I will show you how you can edit and combine video templates for your needs in Canva. I think every Canva user, there's a prompt that will allow you access to our new video timeline. And you just need to hit yes, and you'll have access to this new video view at the bottom of your canvas. So for this one, I'll just recreate it from scratch. I believe this template is what we call yellow video-centric YouTube intro. So this is originally, I guess, a video template for backpacking, but I really love this font. This font is called Tan Kindred. The Tan series of fonts are some of my favorite. Let's pretend I've had an amazing ocean holiday. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of lockdown in Sydney, but at least with Canva, we can escape. So I'm going to go Steph's Ocean Adventure. That's gorgeous. It was in Sydney, and let's say it was in December. If you want to just replace videos in Canva, you can just delete the placeholder video. So this one is set as the background. So I just click on the background, delete. And while I do not have any amazing ocean footage of my own, I'm just going to use one from the Canva library. So if you just search sea or ocean, I could really do with a holiday, guys. Oh, that's beautiful. If you right click any of your videos, you can hit replace background and that will automatically set as the background, and you can't really like shift it around so you don't accidentally delete it off the canvas. That looks like a great start for a YouTube video. We can pretend there was an amazing video of my ocean holiday in 2019. You can now overlay multiple audio tracks in Canva. So let's search for something kind of lo-fi, hip hop, laid back, peaceful. How about the opening to the Canva Space video? And then if I wanted to extend this video template with another one, let's look at another video template we can combine this with. I like that font there. Oh, look, there's a thanks for watching. So, well, that's quite easy. It seems like we've created these templates in the same themes as each other. So thank you, templates team. Let me find another ocean shot. Maybe instead of the ocean, I'll go for the sky. Ooh, that's quite nice. So I'm just gonna replace background. It's not much contrast there though. So contrast is super important in designs. It makes your designs more accessible. So I might just actually look for a background that has a little bit more negative space. So I'm just going to zoom out a bit. And one great trick, if you haven't quite got anything quite in the style you want, just enlarge the image or video enough. There we go. That's a bit more legible. There we go. So we can pretend I have some amazing ASMR footage in between this, but I've designed my intro and outro just on Canva. So if we play it here. Easy peasy. In summary, the most important thing is to make sure that your content has value based on, I guess, insights in your audience. And in my experience, this is key to virality. There's places for brands or creators to do both short form and long form content. It's just knowing what will resonate at that time with your audience. I personally find short form content is a great way to participate in culture and jump on trends, whereas long form is a better place to set the trends and create content your audience will re-engage with later down the road. This is a generalization though. I don't want to be that annoying person, but it depends. It depends on what works best for your audience and your audience's needs and your own resources. Ultimately, content just has to be good and relevant, no matter the duration. And so we have some time for some questions. So If there's any burning questions that I have not been able to cover, please let me know. If you head over to our Instagram, we create a lot of cheat sheets. And so just let us know if there's a specific cheat sheet you would like. I'm pretty sure we've done a recent one on keyboard shortcuts. But if you don't already know, I don't know the technical term for it, but the square bracket, if you hit Control square bracket, you can select elements that are behind each other. That's a really handy one. If you're also a part of our Canva design circle, that's also an excellent resource. And you can also post your designs for our community to give you help. Best tips or videos for first-time users of Canva. I think just start with a template. I think the most intimidating thing as a beginner is like the blank canvas staring at you. So if I just go to the Canva homepage, once you've logged into Canva, click on the templates. And so we've also got a lot of like things on the front page if you're just absolutely stumped and don't know where to start. Oh, this is really nice, a lot of weddings. Oh, and then we also curate selections based on whatever your last design was. So because I just designed a video, there's a lot of great video templates popping up for me here. Any other artists or designers you recommend we follow? So I think I mentioned Giphy as a platform for amazing creators. So I think if you go to artists, this is a great way to find some amazing creators, and most of them will have the same username on Instagram. So this is how I discovered Matt Voice. More Parsley is one of my favorites. They've got this little froggy dude who you can put all over your Instagram stories. And you can see 1 billion GIF views. And they'll also have a link to their Instagram. So that's my great hack for finding GIF or motion creators. Sometimes I think on our Instagram, we will highlight some of our Canva community too. We often do UGC features. There's a lot of questions on video. That's great. The video timeline should be, it's in open beta. So I think when you first create a video design, you'll have the prompt that comes up that says like, I want to participate in this, and that will give you access to our new video timeline. So that's open to the public now. Let's see. How do we find out about new features Canva puts out? I think I would just sign up to our social channels. So our Facebook, our Instagram. We also do a series on Instagram called What's New. How do you know what template will be the best to start with? Yes, it could be overwhelming seeing how many ways you can take a design. This is literally my life problem. The way you can narrow down what you want to design for, think about who it's for and what platform you're designing for. Designing, say, for Instagram is quite different to Twitter, which is much more of an engagement style platform. Instagram is more about look and feel, whereas Twitter, you can go quite low fidelity in the memes. So even if it's not too put together, that's fine for Instagram. Oftentimes too, you might start designing with one template, but then you come across another and just switch to that. There's nothing wrong with that. I have trouble locating all the templates I liked. Anyone help me? I think the main thing to do is to kind of note down the keywords that will help you find the templates again. Or here's another easy trick for it. So let's say I like, oh, this is a nice summer template. If you click on these 3 dots here, that will just tell you the search terms to look for, the fonts and the keywords. Sometimes if you use these keywords, you'll find other templates in kind of a similar style or vibe. So that's a really helpful way to optimize your search. I think that was probably it for time. So thank you so much for coming. I hope you're all well and safe wherever you are, and hopefully I'll see you at the very next webinar.
Thank you for a really action-packed session. There was so much useful knowledge and actionable insights in there. And thank you everybody for joining us live. And we hope to see you at another Canva Space webinar very soon.